Alexandra Adomaitis. I'm writer-director of Saint, and
I'm Tracy Keshek, and I'm the producer of Saint.
And we are Red Siren Entertainment.
That's awesome. This is such an interesting, just amazing tour de force. It's like 30 minutes of nonstop punch you in the face.
I love it.
And you know, there's twists, there's turns, there's all kinds of things going on. Where did this all start? Well, how did you guys decide that you were going to do this and do it as an episodic? I mean, I had to imagine there was a conversation about maybe doing this as a feature or doing it as a short at some point. I mean, it technically is a short, but I mean, you're really aiming toward being a series. Am I right on that?
Absolutely, yes.
So how did that all come about?
Well, originally I had an idea for a film because many years ago I had spent a lot of time around hackers and the whole subculture. And for me, who had come up as a classical dancer and my whole life had been around dance, all of a sudden I was just enveloped into this whole world that was so different from mine. And I had done a lot of Ren Fair and stuff like that, but still these people were just so different. Their minds worked in a way that I just didn't even understand. And there were all these characters. It was like a whole pirate ship, right? So I loved it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. But I was so inspired years later to kind of write this story based on characters who had been in and out of my life and just people who I knew who had been in my home, you know.
It's kind of scary in thinking
it's
about it a little bit.
So a lot of the situations in this pilot, you know, people are like, wow, that's so, I'm like, no, this actually happened. Like, I saw it happen in my living room. I saw it happen out at clubs. So, you know, once I kind of shared this idea with Tracy, look, I wanted to maybe a film, I don't know what, but I had been creating this other television series in which I needed all this kind of ensemble and these characters' backstories. And I thought, what if I took this story and made it one of the characters' kind of backstories before she gets to the series as you know it. So that's kind of how that became.
You know, what's interesting, because episodics are huge right now, and they're exploding. And you know, I always talk to a lot of people who create these, and the interesting thing for me is how much do you tell? How much do you put in there, right? I mean, how was it? I imagine that was quite a discussion to have about how much are we really going to reveal? How much do we hold on to? I'm sure there's more twists and turns that we haven't seen, right?
Yeah.
So how did you guys decide in which ones you were going to partake in and how you were going to challenge yourself with this?
I kind of created a bunch of scenarios and ideas as I was kind of writing, kind of just brainstorming. And one of the things that I love most about our working relationship is that Tracy is such a good, you know, I could just bounce ideas off of her and she's like, this is great, this wouldn't make sense. And so I know that our minds definitely work differently, but she has such a great creative, different outlook on it. And so I said, here's 10 ideas that we could do, and she was like, let's do these 3 because they're so badass, or they're so intriguing. And so she kind of helped me to weave together that story, but it is complicated when you're introducing all these characters, and so you have the viewers being like, well, what is going to happen with that? What, and I'm like, but it's a pilot.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
Yeah, I think too, we've done another piece that's also a part of this whole series, and you know, we wanted to introduce intriguing characters, I think, and just have enough of that balance where we're kind of teasing the audience, giving them a little bit of information, but not giving too much away, so that at the end of both of them, and you know, the subsequent ones that we end up doing in the series, what happens next? You know, that's the question we hope people ask at the end of it. Wait, it throws you off, or you're something you're not expecting. So that's hopefully what we convey. You know, trying to find that right balance.
You grew up around this, and you knew people, and these are true stories to a certain extent. But how important was it to be authentic, and how much research did you guys put into this to try and keep it authentic?
So much. So I actually hadn't grown up around it, but I spent many years. And so it was very important to keep the authenticity. So we did hire on a consultant who would, be there to watch everything, because if I'm already writer-director and I'm acting in it and Tracy's producing, I mean, we're kind of like this, one-woman show,
right.
But we make up this team, but we do a lot of, because it's independent filmmaking.
Sure,
you do
sure.
everything.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
Even though we had a great casting crew, we had to have that consultant there from script to screen, and even in the editing process, we're working with VFX, which Tracy dealt a lot with our VFX artists, and she handpicked them, and it was very much like, it has to look a certain way, it has to feel a certain way.
Right, sure.
So she did a lot of that. Maybe you could speak more about the VFX a little bit, and just how important it was.
Yeah, that was something that we would bounce off of the consultant, because obviously, I mean, that's not my realm.
Right,
Sure. Code. I mean, things as simple as code.
How much you show on the screen.
How much do you show? What is passable, what's not,
Right.
because it's not like we can sit there and just, here's a bunch
Plus,
of
you don't want to be putting government secrets on a
right,
computer
exactly.
screen.
And trying to make it look believable,
Right.
So that it's, okay, that makes sense,
Yeah, totally.
So but the consultant was very helpful in that respect.
That's awesome. That's awesome you could do something like that,
Yes,
A lot of
absolutely.
indie productions don't even get that luxury, so.
Yeah.
Very true, we're very fortunate, yes.
The cool thing about this too is the design elements of it. The color schemes, the rich tones. They kind of you get your pastels, and then you get into your dark shadows.
Right.
And then you get this bumping music that just kind of thumps, and you get a rhythm going through that. I'm curious, was it that the design from the beginning? Did you guys was it a happy accident that you found some of these things? Because sometimes that's what happens, right? You're doing this, and it just happens to look cool, and you go, okay, let's stick with that.
Yeah, I find that in filmmaking. I think you have an idea going in of what you think it's going to look like, and sometimes at the end of it, you're like, well, that's not what I pictured at all, but this is great. but sometimes it's great. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, kind of the beauty of having a crew, and everybody's coming together, and everybody sees things differently. So it's kind of like that happy marriage of different perspectives and ideas.
Nice.
And when it works out, it's beautiful.
Nice. So when you're acting, are you directing Tracy, or somebody else? You had a different person? Are you kind of doing both at the same time?
So I would have to say that I do both, and I pride myself in being able to take off those hats. In our previous short it was called Diamond Days. It's on Amazon now, by the way.
Amazon
Check it
Prime.
out. I was directing and I was acting, and I was the main actor, and I was doing a fight sequence, and it was so taxing on me emotionally, physically. I was like, all right, I'm not doing that again. I'm very proud of it, but that was like, okay, let's learn that lesson. So moving into this, I always, from the beginning, any project that we've done through our production company or just together, I always say, if I'm on screen, you know what I like, you know what's gonna work, you know when to cut, and any other time, I'm always watching the camera. But if I'm on screen, I trust her implicitly. She's my eyes, she's my ears, and there's no one else that I want watching in Video Village, other than her, just because not only have we worked so long together, but it's like she and I know each other's work so well, and so I'm grateful to have that.
There's not a move that you make that I don't know about.
Hello?
Well, hey there, Janie. You miss me?
Where is she?
You were the one to walk away.
She suspects nothing.
Where's the diamond?
You both might be too young, but as soon as I watched like the first 5 minutes of this, I got Hackers from 1995,
Yes,
and then
so
just
good.
like it just was like, oh my god, this is what it's like. They're grown up, you know.
Yeah.
It's the grown up version of these kids.
So true. It's like the new.
It's
the
like
new
their sequel.
2020 version. Yeah, exactly. I know there were so many films that like I didn't want to make it like that, but I drew
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Or, you know, you have the Lawnmower Man, you have the Matrix, you have all these things that you kind of want to put elements in, but you want to make it your own. You know, and really at the end of the day, I just said, well, I know so and so would have said this, so that's what I'm gonna write. So the actors would be like, what about this? I'm like, no. I'm like, this is what the person said.
She's like, trust me, I was there. I know what they said.
I may have been a couple of drinks in, but I was there. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was so.
That's awesome. You
important,
could
yeah.
observe that, and
Yeah.
you know.
And I didn't even know at the time. You
Yeah,
know, all
sure.
these years of spending time around them, I was like, okay, whatever. And lo and behold, here we are.
Nice, awesome, and it's fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, the other thing about this that I find very interesting is that it has this like cinematic feel to it. It's very big, it's very bold, but it also has like this intimate, you know, quality to it that's kind of. You see this with indies, but the cinematic element really adds a very higher production. Was that very important to you guys in producing this?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I'm a big fan of the cinematic look. It's just my own personal,
Right.
you know, thing. I love it when it looks that way and fun.
Sure. And we are our harshest critics, right? So,
Absolutely.
So you're looking at this
Oh my
thing, you've seen
gosh.
it a million times.
Oh, God,
You
yes.
would go, I want to cut there. I should have like kept that on that scene, or
Yes,
that
all the time.
should have got that cut away.
Every single, yes.
Every time it
So-
makes you like not want to watch it sometimes, and you're just like, you know what? I'll be outside when
Yeah.
y'all are done.
Let me know when you guys
tell
are
me.
finished, yes.
Yeah.
Well-
And you know what? We used to like when we were starting out, we'd go to premieres and stuff, and filmmakers would leave, and we'd be like, why don't they want to watch their film? You know? And now we get it because it's just like you've not only seen it a billion times,
Right.
but you're just like you see every flaw that
Yeah.
you're done. You can't change it.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
So that being said, what do you think you nailed on this production?
We got it finished.
Nice.
We got it
That's
done.
always the plus.
Right,
Getting
right.
it finished. That's number one. Get it finished.
Nice.
You know, I think.
I honestly think the overall response.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that people close to us are going to love our work, they're going to support us, but we've had a lot of people just either watch it that are just, you know, colleagues or whatnot, and we just said, hey, we're going to show you this, and it's been a really overwhelmingly positive response, you know, because you never know
Yes.
when
Yeah.
you share it with actual colleagues that will be honest with you.
Sure, sure.
So in general, I find that not only did we accomplish it and get it finished and everything, which we knew we would, but having that response of like, this makes sense, it's good filmmaking, the story is intriguing, you know, just the overall of having that good film feel is wonderful to do.
So, how do you like to work with the actors? Being an actor that you're on set working with them, do you catch yourself sometimes being a director in your own head, or are you able to turn that off and kind of be in the actor role? And then how do you treat the other actors that you're working with in that respect? How do you give to them when you're both behind the camera and then in front of it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think as I've progressed and the more I work, obviously, the better I've been able to hone it. But I know that working as an actor for so many years, I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. And what I found at the end of the day is that we're all different, just like people.
Sure.
We're all different. Every actor wants to be treated differently. You know, but I'm pretty sure there's really not many actors that want to hear, can you cry more? You know, I'm like, the amount of times that I've had a director tell me that, and can you cry more? I'm like, what does that mean? You know, but there's some actors that are like, let me do it on my own.
Sure.
And so what I found for me that worked is I like to meet them first as people. I like to get to know them a little bit so I can kind of suss out
Nice.
how they want to work. And I try to honor that,
Nice.
you know, because I know that that's the way I'm going to get the best performance from them, is to really honor how they work, try to kind of match it, mirror it, and then find how can I push them without them feeling threatened or this or that, you know. This project, you know, a lot of actors are like, what do my scene look like? What am I, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, if I needed something more, I'd tell you. Let's, you know, because I'm also, because time is money and because I know that Tracy and I are like, let's go. We had a 5-day shoot on this, you know, and it's like, if I need another take, you know, unless you felt it was a horrible and you just want one more take, I will give that to you if we have the time. But other than that, like, let's move on. Go. Time is money. So I'm very big on that too.
Nice. What's your advice, Tracy, for somebody who's trying to put something together? And is it find a good partner? Is it good collaboration? Where do you think, as a producer, you know, this all comes together, and it becomes. I mean, it doesn't come easy, but you know, and I'm sure people will never know the strife and hell you probably went through to make this thing happen.
I mean, I think we all go into Hollywood, or I would say most of us that didn't grow up in it. I think stars in our eyes, for lack of a better term, thinking that I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to make this happen. And then you get there and it's like, oh, it's a wake-up call. It is. We kind of talk about it like it's the Wild West in a sense. There's rules, but there aren't.
And it doesn't matter how hard you work. I think that's the other misconception. You can work your butt off every day, 365. It's not about that necessarily.
Yeah, it's a balance of work hard and work smart.
Yeah.
I think the advice that I would give to filmmakers coming into the business is the one word that has stuck with me in the last few years is to persevere.
Nice.
Because it's going to throw everything it's got at you, and there are going to be moments where you are above the moon and you think everything is fantastic and you're riding that wave, and the next minute you're at the bottom and you're going, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? And if you can find that reason when you're at the bottom, then persevere, because it's worth it. So,
awesome.
And that's the lesson that I've learned, you know. So, I mean, we've had a lot of ups and downs. We've had great successes and, you know, moments where we're just going, oh my God. So, it is, literally.
I think I want to be a bartender.
You do. You sit there and you're like, what am I doing here? Why would I put myself through all of this? And it sounds melodramatic just to hear it that way.
Yeah.
But when you've experienced, it's a special experience. You know, I mean, I can't compare it to anything else in particular off the top of my head. But that's what I would say. You know, to sum it up is, it's going to throw things at you. The industry will. You know, because it's not an easy climb. You know, but if you can weather that storm and keep going, you can do it.
Especially for a woman.
Absolutely. That's a whole other interview.
Now you're adding extra.
I'm trying to, because I know you guys talk about that a lot. I'm sure people always ask you about that. So I don't want to be cliche and ask you.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a reality though of
sure.
what you deal with. But I think in addition to persevering, I think if you are fortunate enough to find somebody that you really enjoy working with, that you can trust, you know, that is golden. That, I mean, to have somebody to ride that wave with you, whether it's really great or not, you know, I think it helps you keep your sanity in a lot of respects.
Yeah, when you're down, she's up, and
we've had that, you know, like I'm here, she's up there, and then vice versa, and it's like, hey, you know, like, or right, you know, like
Pretty sure that was yesterday.
That was actually yesterday. What was that? True confessions, Joe. Or you're getting a good. No, that really was. And it's
It's
just
reality, though,
it
of
is
this industry.
Sure.
It is, because it can be stressful because you're your own entrepreneur. You're your own business, and you're trying to figure it out as you go.
Sure.
You know, unless you're the benefit of nepotism, you know, or you've struck it and you got lucky, and now suddenly you're an A-lister. You know, I mean,
Which can happen.
That can happen,
You just don't
absolutely.
know.
You know, but I'd say for the majority of people that come to LA, it's not an easy road.
Yeah.
But it's a worthwhile road.
Do you think the way that you've gone about it, though, you have a deeper appreciation for how you've gotten to this point because of the fact that you've pushed and prodded and been pushed and turned and everything?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, we've had these conversations. I said, you know what? For as much stuff as we've been through, we're not stopping.
Yeah,
you know,
nice.
It's just like, you know what? There's a reason why we went through all of that. You know, we're going to keep going with this. We're not going to stop, because it's, you know, 9 times out of 10 when people stop, they didn't know that they were that close. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just right around the corner.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say don't stop. Just keep going.
Nice. You know, I mean, obviously, strong female leads are in this production, and I'm sure that was very important to have that. But you have a great balance. I mean, you give every character. Is that the actor in you, really, to give every character a moment where they have a really strong opportunity?
Honestly,
because everybody has one in this.
Yeah,
in this
it's true.
30 minutes, you know.
Even Ron has his moment.
Yeah.
Even Ron has his moment.
Yeah, sure.
Bless his heart, he's such a sweetheart. It was, you know what, I think it was more the writer, the creator in me, just knowing that all these characters, I mean, obviously we're about women empowerment, we're about putting, you know, diversity and everything, but it really, at the end of the day, was about who fit the role best and what we really worked with the actors to create these roles. But I did want them all to kind of have that moment where it's, you know, it is kind of an ensemble piece, even though it's more about Saint. But they all, really, I wanted them to live and breathe. These characters are important. They are real life people who became, you know, fictional in this film, and it's really cool to see that.
And I know a secret that nobody else knows about having seen this.
Find out tomorrow.
Which is fantastic, by the
Yeah.
way. I mean, this thing is just a triumph. I really, really can't applaud you enough for this. It's really, it's well paced. It's well done. You know, a lot of these times you get peaks and valleys with episodics, and especially if you're trying to jam pack something into a pilot or give one off so that you get a sense of what. I can't imagine how fast the thing's going to move into the next phases, and if you do a second episode or a third episode of this story, wow, I'll fall out of my chair. I think it's just amazing that you have all this in that one punch, and congratulations so much on this.
Thank you so much.
Well, my last question for you is, what do you love about being indie?
You know, like when Alex writes a script, she can just go and dive into that and create whatever she wants, you know, and then us as a team, you know, at the end of the day, we get to decide what we're putting, you know, on that screen. And that's rewarding too, because you get to kind of be creative and play, you know, which I think, I mean, I'm a lot in the business side of things, and sometimes that, you know, when you're pushing paper, it's like an office job, and sometimes it's like, oh man, I want to be behind the building.
all day.
Yeah, literally. I'm just like sad forms all day. I'm like, oh man, I want to be over there, you know, like watching the whole thing, you know, and just, you know, like I let her do her things. I trust her implicitly with our projects, but you know, if I see something, I'll say, hey, what about this, you know, just to try to like help out creatively, but. The freedom, I think, the freedom to create, because it's not studio controlled. It's not, you know, you're being told what you can and cannot do. So that would be my takeaway from it.
And the way it's cut too.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
the way it's cut, because obviously when you have it with a network or with a studio,
They have
they're going to
input.
edit. Yeah, they're going to have all their input on what stays, what goes. And so I think, and also, I don't know, I have to be honest, the first time that I ever saw something that we worked on put on screen, we were in this camper in the middle of the desert, and I just started crying, because it was like knowing that you did that from the moment I had the idea. I remember where I was and up until this point, and it's not even, you know, in the editing bay yet, but it's being an independent filmmaker has that reward that you're not going to feel if you're just like, well, this studio hired me. I mean, obviously there's more money, there's more accolades usually, but it is such a rewarding feeling to not only be independent filmmakers, but to also be women, you know, and to be in this industry and now be able to branch out a bit more. I think it's absolutely rewarding.
When's your birthday, baby?
My birthday is March 4th. Why do you want to know?
You into computers?
I like playing video games.
What kind of games are you into?
The usual suspects like Fortnite, Star Citizen, Grand Theft Auto, that sort of thing.
With the direction things are going, us hackers, we're kind of like these soldiers.
So I heard you have something I might be interested in.
We got a rat. We gotta find out what it is and quick.
Oh, I'm your contact now. You can call me Expo.
What does this have to do with me? I already told the feds that I don't know anything.
He was on to me from the beginning. He was running some kind of scanning program through his phone.
Perhaps she didn't do it.
Oh, no. She definitely did it. Her trail is well covered. But an exploit is an exploit.
Nothing is for free.